You know, the Deepwater Horizon drilling rig blew up right on the surface, but in reality what was causing that, of course, was the Macondo wellhead down deep, more than 1,300 meters down on the seafloor. And so what we've been forced to do is get our instruments down there and make our measurements way down deep. So we're typically working between 900 meters depth when we're a little farther up what we call the continental slope, and as deep as 2,000 meters deep when we're trying to get some sense of what's happened shallow versus what's happened deep. Here at the University of Mississippi, we've found groups in the shops, not just scientists. I want to mention the people that can build the heavy lifting instruments that we put out. I'm in particular associated with the lander operation. We call them landers. They're basically big frames that host our instruments that are placed on them. We send them down to the seafloor. We have to place them really close to places where we want to make measurements. And the MMRI, the shop here at the University of Mississippi, led by Matt Lowe, those guys are our best friends. They have invented new technologies, especially during the last 2 years, that have revolutionized what we can do.
The lander you can think of as a platform for instruments. It's basically a bench that has a bunch of equipment on it, and it gets lowered over the side and put in place where you want it on the seafloor. And then some of those instruments may be taken off the bench and put on the seafloor. Other instruments may remain on the bench, but the intakes or other sensors may come off and then put them into particular places, let's say a seep or near coral or whatever the investigator wants to look at.
I think that the thing that we're really bringing to bear on it is new technologies that allow us to investigate the microbiology, in other words, the degradation of the oil and the gas that's happening out there in the Gulf. We're bringing new sensors that allow us to measure natural gas down deep. We actually didn't have the capability to do that in 2010, and now we do for the first time. So I think what's happened here is we've moved from being a group that goes occasionally and visits a site, makes occasional measurements, to a group that's been forced to learn how to go out there and measure things over longer time periods and figure out actual rates of processes that are going on in the system.
You can leave the lander there. Depending on your deployment, what your goals are, what your instruments are, what your timeline is, they can be down there from 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. It just depends on what your goals are.
Our landers go down at various depths, and what we're trying to do is capture the spatial changes that are going on in the quality of the environment. And we're not just working at the near the wellhead site. We're trying to get off in a distance and compare what's happened at areas that haven't been impacted versus those that have.
I've been involved in landers on 3 different occasions. We've put them out 3 different times. Sometimes we got turned back a few times because of weather. Working at sea is one of those things where it's unpredictable. Weather comes up, you can't put stuff over the side because it's too dangerous. And so, but we've gotten 3 deployments out already, and we hope to get another deployment and recovery done in the next couple of weeks.
The ocean doesn't recognize our little disciplines, biology, chemistry, physics, geology, and whatever. It is what it is, and the organisms that are down there need the chemicals that they need to sustain themselves, their substrates. And so we've been forced in our fields to work together. If somebody's making a measurement that involves how much respiration is going on down there, how much oxygen is being used, that's the time that you want to do your measurements of how much oil is being degraded or how much gas is being degraded. If you get just those 2 things together, you're going to have a chance to understand what's happening. So the key here is not just to make measurements for the sake of documenting something. The key is to understand the processes that are involved so that we learn enough so that we can deal with these disasters effectively, so that we know how to predict what will happen next, and so that we can apply that knowledge anywhere in the Gulf where these processes go on. We know we need energy from the Gulf. There are going to be accidents from time to time. We just need to be able to better deal with them.